Friends, I noticed that most spiritual people, those who are even very regular with their spiritual practices, those who are initiated into spiritual life, those who seemingly are really sincere about reaching God and developing themselves in spiritual life, falling prey to one very unsuspecting problem that people don't recognize that, and it is a serious problem. See, in spirituality, in spiritual life, gaining the eligibility to be who you are, which is the Sachidananda, I mean, the ever pure, immaculate, or I mean, ever pure, shining Atman. So, that gaining eligibility itself is a very big part of it. So, one of the qualities for that eligibility is Astheya, which is non stealing, you can say that. You cannot steal somebody else's property. Now, you are thinking that if you don't steal somebody else's things, that is non stealing. That is first level. Second level is when you realize that even if you think about stealing the other property, or even if you wish you would somehow get the other person's property without earning it, that also is stealing. So you would realize as you grow in spiritual life, you realize the subtler points and subtler dimensions of your gross desires and gross ineligibilities. So, furthermore, today I observed one quality which is also stealing, which people don't realize, and which is stealing in a very, very, very big way, in a major way. And I'm surprised why people don't talk about it. I think it is because in the Ramakrishna tradition, one very big issue has been that you don't get to live and spend good amount of time with your guru. Almost for 90%, 95% of the people, almost no time is spent other than when you get initiated with the guru, from the guru. This is a very serious issue, major issue. I think the reason is that this is the reason why people are not being, people are not getting the points where they are falling. I mean, people are not being guided where they are failing in spiritual life and why, etc. So, the point that I'm talking about is a person is seriously thinking that he wants free will, he has free will, he wants his will to be fulfilled, executed. He does everything, he or she does everything in that person's capacity to fulfill their will. But in the middle, if somebody else's free will obstructs your free will, this person gets annoyed. So there is this uh, subdued, subconscious, underlying annoyance all the time that your will is being obstructed by somebody else's free will, that is making you bound, and you are annoyed by it. You cannot say you are annoyed consciously. You are annoyed consciously sometimes, many times, but all the time you are annoyed subconsciously. So it's not just annoyance that is the problem, but it is also that you are not willing to understand and digest the fact that it is not just you that has free will, but every person on this earth, every being on this earth has free will, and they will and they ought to execute that free will just like how you execute and try to fulfill your free will. Now, if you don't give it to them mentally, if you don't, I'm not saying you will allow them, or you will have to allow them physically to execute their free will. That is one part of it. But if you regret or if you resent that that person is having free will and you resent that fact, so mentally you are not able to digest and you are not able to accept that the others have free will too. This is a very big psychological problem. And this amounts to stealing because you are you want that other person's will to be in your control, which means you want that as property, your property. That is not yours, that is theirs, but you still want to rule over them, control them somehow without their permission. This is extremely serious issue in spirituality, and If it happens naturally by some natural law, that is a different matter. And if somebody consensually gives you the permission to use his free will to an extent that is permitted, that is okay. Absolutely no problem. But you get annoyed because the other person is executing their free will freely, even when it is obstructing your free will. You get annoyed because of that, and you don't want it. You wish only you are free. Actually, you don't even think in those terms. The whole problem is that these people are seeing the world and they're not even recognizing the others are living on this world. They are so obsessed with themselves and their what they want and where they want to go, even if it is God, etc. They simply don't even want to acknowledge the existence of the other people in this world, and they want to remove. So much so, remove the people if they can. So much so that one of my students tells me that it's a great disturbance when I take a photograph. When I see people, I just avoid people. I want to take only nature. I mean, which is okay as a genre, which is all fine. For photographic purposes, it is all fine. But there is an inherent dislike, contempt to other human lives. There is a lack of happiness with other people's presence and their legitimate right to live in this world. And all of this is very concerning, because in spiritual life, if you really believe Vivekananda when he says unselfishness is the test of religion, all of these things will come under that line, and you will have to examine yourself very carefully why this kind of tendency and nature is there. Nature is selfish, fine. The selfish genie, sorry, the selfish genes. There's a book which is quoted by Ranganathananji often. That is fine. But education means you overcome that, you outgrow that selfishness. Spiritual education is you deliberately, intensely, and consistently are practicing to outgrow this selfishness for the sake of everyone, not just yourself. So that is spiritual education. So I wanted to point out this, and I hope people understand and appreciate this point. So this is basically stealing. If you stealing from others, legitimate right, and by design they are existing here. By design, they're just like you. So if you have any other feeling when you look at others than when you look at yourself, you have to ask, why am I getting that kind of feeling? We have to, if we are comfortable with ourselves, we should be able to be comfortable with others and everyone who has the legitimacy of living on this planet, just like you. You're not special. That is extremely important. And everyone is part of God's design. Hope we understand that. Thank you.